What's happening, people? Back with another reaction, back with some more Duran Duran. We're going back to their 2000 album Pop Trash. Once again, I wanted to give a shout out to those of you who may not be overly fond of this album and who've been checking out the reactions anyway. Also, shout out to those of you, a few of you like Johnny, I'm thinking of, who I know are fond of this album. So, once again, shout out to all of you. We're going to listen to the fifth tune, which is called Starting to Remember. I'm intrigued by the title. Obviously, starting to remember indicates, there's a temporal implication, the idea that in some previous state, they were unable to recall, like prior events, a particular person, maybe the long process of a relationship, or at least critical junctures over the course of something that happened previously. But when you're saying starting to remember, you're not only indicating that some of the memories might be coming back, but that you're hopeful, at least, that that sort of window into your own experiences and recollections will continue to open more. So starting to remember indicates there will be more remembering, and perhaps, at least, an expanding of the memory that, or memories that are recalled. So yeah, it's definitely a title that refers to time in a couple different respects, both in terms of looking back cognitively and looking forward behaviorally or mentally. So yeah, I'm interested by sort of the bidirectional nature of time that is implied in the title. And then, recalling it is a funny thing, right? Like when people lose memories, whether, because of some neurodegenerative disease, Alzheimer's or something else, it is weird how, like, past experiences then are held only by the other people who had them, or at the very least they're held in a more complete way by the other people that shared with the person who has lost these memories. But it is interesting in the way in which experiences that have been shared and discussed and so on over time, eventually they can be sort of blotted out for one person because of the way that, we humans are frail and our bodies, including the brains, that eventually they have problems over a long enough timeline. As someone famously wrote, the survival rate for everyone drops to zero. And again, gray matter is a very delicate thing, and whether through trauma or again some disease that begins internally, one's cognition can change the nature of associations with other people, as well as again sort of obscure or evaporate the experiences that they shared together through time, at least for the person who is dealing with that cognitive condition. So this might have nothing to do with that. It might not have anything to do with cranial trauma leading to a loss of memory. But starting to remember does speak, at least by simple implication, to a state in which, or a time in which, the person in question did not remember and was unable to recall. So yeah, we'll see what it's about. We'll see exactly how the themes are manifested, so far as I can catch it. But I will say I've been very much interested with this album so far. Playing with Uranium was a great tune. Someone Else Not Me was awesome, and I'm looking forward to the two, the French and the Spanish versions at the end. And again, Hallucinating Elvis, I was fascinated by that because I really could feel the connection to Midazoland. It felt edgy, it felt experimental and dissonant. So yeah, and it did feel very hallucinatory and psychedelic. So again, shout out to the guys for sort of being able to capture sonically what they're getting at thematically. I really do enjoy that, across their albums and the different lineups. Nevertheless, let's get to it. This is Starting to Remember by Duran Duran on their 2000 album Pop Trash. Oh, kind of like a ballad feel right out of the gate. That's nice. But almost sounds like the Beatles at their most psychedelic. That was cool. I enjoy that. And again, you know, maybe not quite as much as playing with uranium, but I do very much feel, or sorry, not playing with uranium, hallucinating Elvis. I do feel a connection again to Midazoland. I feel like, you know, there was a bit of sort of like a psychedelic twist, a bit of a sort of a gritty edge to what was otherwise a kind of floating and sort of free-flowing tune. And yeah, like the lyrics, I didn't pick up on too much, but what I did gather is that it was about him, like, starting to remember. So definitely have to listen to that one more to pick up on sort of the thematic contours, but musically I was fascinated because it had a sort of like a free-flowing, kind of like thinking about life sort of feel, but there was like a bit of a dark edge, and there was even a line about something about like retreating into darkness or something like that. There was definitely like darkness was represented, which once again, Simon's ability to sort of cast and represent the world in shades of color and light, and to use that as like a metaphor for feelings or for understandings and experiences continues to amaze me. And the more, you know, I notice it, the more I realize, you know, there's such depth and variation to the way he will use those sort of lights and colors to describe the world. So I think there's another example of that, even if I need to like fully appreciate just what he's saying with the use of the concept of darkness. So yeah, gotta go back and listen to that again. Let me know what you think. And again, let me know if there's any like angle or sort of phrase in particular that I should look out for. Let me know what you think about the sonics of that one. When we come back to this album next, it'll be Pop Trash Movie, which I am interested in. A number of you have pointed out that the working title of this album was Hallucinating Elvis, based on that song, but then perhaps Pop Trash Movie was created after. I'm not remembering. And again, a number of you have commented, so I'm sure the information's there. But yeah, my wonder is whether they later decided that Pop Trash was a sort of more fitting title based upon the track Pop Trash Movie. Excuse me. So we'll have to see when we get there, but do let me know if there's anything to look out for in advance for that one. Once again, I did want to give a shout out to the artwork. I very much like the artwork on the cover of this album. You know, it just like, even knowing that it's Liberace's car, and you know, therefore it's kind of like, you know, you have to understand it in the context of Liberace, even if you didn't know that, the sort of the glitz and sort of superficial veneer of glamour, like over a more sort of like, you know, working type of object, a sort of old school car that was, you know, designed less to be about glitz and glamour like in that way, and more about, you know, functionality. I am interested in that. But yeah, we'll come back, as I said, for Pop Trash, and yeah, I hope to see you then. Thanks.